Good morning.
Good morning.
It is wonderful to see you all on this bright autumnal morning. My name is Don Rakow, and I am pleased to be your celebration associate this morning. May we gather to nurture our connections, seek inspiration, and embrace change. I have a few announcements I'd like to share. First, a shout out to all of our fellow UU members who marched and participated in the No Kings rally yesterday. What a great turnout, what a spirited event, and like all events held across the country, it was based on our belief in democracy. A second announcement, Stewardship will have a table in the parlor after service where you can contribute to our October fund drive and help close our budget gap. October gifts are matched 1 for 1, so you can double your gift impact today by seeing the representative of Stewardship at the table after the service. Also, let us join together for the return of the much anticipated live service auction this Saturday, October 25th, starting at 5:30 p.m. with a delicious dinner, which will include vegan options. That will be held in the annex, along with a cash bar with wine, beer, and mocktails, and a dessert buffet in the parlor at 6:45, followed by our exciting evening of bidding on wonderful donations from so many of the FUSIT members. Dinner tickets are only $15. You can buy them at the auction table also during coffee hour this morning. And the last chance to sign up for dinner is this Wednesday, the 22nd. Cultivating compassion is our theme for October. May we help one another be more compassionate toward one another and to ourselves at a time when even in moments where we feel powerless. So, let us proceed to the chalice lighting, and Amber Marcus, if you would please join us for that.
Are we,
Yes. Message to oneself, remember matches next time. If you'll join me, we light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action.
Performative dance right in our midst. Before offering the opening words, I'd like to invite all of us to turn to the person at your side to give a greeting of peace and gratitude for this community. I invite you now to say hello to your neighbor and those at a distance. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The favorite part of the service for me. Did you just see the energy? So with joyful hearts, with gratitude hearts, we arrive in this space. At this time, I'd like to invite all of us to set down whatever concerns or worries that we've been carrying, and instead to feel the steadiness of the ground beneath us, the community around us, the breath that brings us here. Together, we kindle a quiet place, well, maybe not always quiet, but wonderful place of care, a hearth of compassion that lives within and among us. Blessed be, we begin this sacred time together.
This week, our Side with Love collection is dedicated to Reach Medical. And do we have young people who will be assisting with our Side of Love collection? And while the young people assist with that, I ask that we turn to hymn 1014, Answering the Call of Love.
Just a short note about this hymn. So the words were changed from standing on the side of love to answering the call of love. My understanding is that the composer wanted to make sure that their language was not ableist. So they've switched that language. So as you're looking in the hymnal, you might be thinking, why are the words different? That is why. And it is in the teal hymnal. You'll see that the words are changed up here.
So every soul is blessed and made whole. Good morning. My name is Hillary Morellas, and I would like to invite anyone who is young or young at heart to come down and join me for a time for wonder. Okay. So we have this wonder box here. So anyone maybe who has not opened it this year, who would like to? Okay, let's have you do it, okay? Let me hold this down. Here. Okay, come on. What is that? Looks like a cardboard cutout or a paper cutout of a heart. So hearts kind of make us think of compassion. Today, that's what we're talking about. And it's not just the kind that shows up when someone is sad or hurt, but it's part of how we move through the world every day. And as Unitarian Universalists, we believe that compassion is something that we can practice and grow like a seed that we water in our hearts. So last week we explored how compassion is something that we can last week we explored how compassion calls us to listen and ask. Our story today is about another kind of compassion, the kind that happens when we view a big injustice that is happening and we look, it's happening and hurting people, and we say to ourselves, that's not right, I need to do something about it. So this story is about a real person, one of our inspiring UU ancestors who made a big difference by treating people with compassion and dignity even when the rest of the world didn't. Okay? So this is a true story about someone who lived a long time ago, over 200 years ago, before there were cell phones or cars or even electricity in most homes. Her name was Dorothea Dix, and even though her world looked very different from ours, she had something very important in common with us. Dorothea believed that every person deserves to be treated with dignity and compassion, respect, and care. So when she was a child, her life was really hard. Her mom was often sick, her dad wasn't kind, and her family moved from place to place a lot. Dorothea did not always feel safe or seen. Eventually, she went to live with her grandmother in Boston, and things got better. She loved to read, and even though girls weren't always taught to study back then, Dorothea taught herself all kinds of things. When she grew up, she became a teacher, and she opened a school for children who were poor. She wasn't trying to be famous. She was just a compassionate person who wanted to help. That's what compassion looks like, noticing someone who is hurting and choosing to care. One day, Dorothea decided to visit the Unitarian Church where Dr. William Ellery Channing was speaking, and what she heard that day changed her life forever. She heard Dr. Channing preach that God was love, we are all a part of that love, and we are called to show that love to others. And this was very different from sermons that she had heard in her own church. It wasn't long after that Dorothea became a Unitarian. And inspired by her UU faith that called her to put love and compassion at the center of her life, she started looking around for people who were being treated unfairly, people who had been forgotten. And one day, she visited a prison where women were being locked up, not because they were dangerous, but because they had mental illnesses. Some of them were chained to the wall with no warm clothes or blankets. The people in charge said, it doesn't matter, they don't feel cold like normal people. But Dorothea knew better. She said, they're people, they feel cold, they feel pain, they deserve dignity. And then she did something amazing. She didn't just feel sad, she took action. Dorothea visited every single prison in Massachusetts, every single one. She took notes, she asked questions, she wrote reports, she spoke to people in government, and guess what? Because of her work, the state opened hospitals where people with mental illnesses were treated kindly and given food, clothing, care, and respect. Then she went to other states, and she did it all again. Over and over, she showed up and spoke out. Dorothea helped change the way our country thinks about mental health. She believed that people should be treated kindly, even if they think or act differently, and everyone deserves dignity, no matter what they're going through. With her life, she taught many people that compassion often means standing up and saying, "This isn't right, we can do better." So next time you see someone being left out or struggling or treated unfairly, even in a small way, remember Dorothea. Remember that compassion isn't just a feeling, it's something that we do. What I love about this story is that it reminds us what compassion looks like when we think of it as a practice, when we don't just feel sad about someone's pain, but we choose to show up with love and do something about that person's pain. So this week, let's look for ways to practice compassion, not just in words, but in the way we treat others, especially those who are often overlooked. Because compassion calls us to treat everyone with dignity, and when we do that, as Dorothea taught us, we can change the world. So thank you for joining me for Time for Wonder. Parents and caregivers, if you have not yet signed your children into RE, please follow us to the parlor to do so now. For the rest of you, let's sing our children out with Where You Go, following the lyrics found on the screen or on the back of the gray hymnal.
Good morning. In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community, to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. From Carol Whitlow, I would like to share a profound joy for all the courageous folks who voiced their love, hope, and compassion yesterday around the world for all the peoples of the world and a democratic life. Thank you, Carol. So now I'm going to do something a little bit different with Joys and Sorrows that will happen this Sunday and next Sunday. At last Sunday's service, as part of our theme of cultivating compassion, Emily asked us to think of something we were struggling with and write it out on a little slip of paper that they were collected, and a few of them were read out loud last Sunday. Today, as part of Joys and Sorrows, I'm going to read a few more of these and ask us all to hold the people who shared them, even though we don't know who they are, hold them in our hearts. Right now, I am struggling supporting my child. Right now, I am struggling with wishing I could quit my job, but now is not a good time to look for a new one. Right now, I am struggling with the rise of authoritarianism. Right now, I am struggling with a brother who was unkind to me in public. Right now, I am struggling with the recent death of my sister. right now, I am struggling with learning that 2 different classmates died this week of an overdose. I feel so helpless. For those we are holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers into this community, into this space of healing and hope, let us call these names out loud. For those we are holding silently in our hearts, let us take a moment of silence. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us remember to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, let our hands be outstretched in kindness, and let us strive to keep showing up to our lives and each other with an open heart, love, and courage to us all. Blessed be, and amen.
Okay. Please join me in the spirit of meditation. Tending the hearth of compassion. In the quiet glow of embered flame, we gather, hands outstretched, hearts leaning toward warmth. This hearth is not built of stone, but of patience, of listening, of the steady work of love. Take a breath and notice the quiet fire within you. Even if you feel numb or weary in these times, know that a single spark, a soft thought, a gentle act makes all the difference. Here, every small kindness is another log laid gently, another spark encouraged to live. Even when the fire flickers low, the breath of care revives it, reminding us that compassion is not a gift we give once, but a fire we tend together day by day, soul by soul. Return to it again and again, and let its warmth meet you, and through you, the world.
beautiful harmony.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca and beyond. Giving to the plate is important. It's a symbol of our gratitude for this service and our ongoing commitment to support the work of this church. For those attending remotely, follow the instructions on the screen. For those attending in person, our ushers will now pass the plate.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me. Comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak with me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, oh my soul.
Please join me in saying the offertory words. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond.
Before reading the reading, I want to make a public shout out to my beloved friend and fellow Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Christina Culver, who came today. As some of you may know, Christina was the executive director of Loaves and Fishes for 15 years, a labor of many, many efforts. So, so early in retirement, I already have her working because I invited her to come today. So this is from the late poet John O'Donohoe, for one who is exhausted. When the rhythm of the heart becomes hectic, time takes on the strain until it breaks. Then all the unattended stress falls in on the mind like an endless, increasing weight. Weariness then invades your spirit. Gravity begins falling inside of you, dragging down every bone. At such times, take refuge in your senses. Open up to all the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the wave of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of color that fostered the brightness of day. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can claim you. Be excessively gentle with yourself, for gradually you will return to your full self, having learned a new respect for your heart and the joy that dwells far within slow time. This summer and fall brought a series of personal losses in quick succession in my life, leaving me feeling disoriented and at times drained of energy and focus. I know I'm not alone in this. Many of us have felt the heaviness of this season through personal grief and through the strain of a harsh political climate where cruelty seems to prevail and uncertainty feels ever present. Our private sorrows then intertwine with the deep ache of the world for the fraying edges of democracy, of compassion, and even our shared humanity. And yet, even in the midst of this heaviness, the world continues to offer quiet mercies. The gold and crimson beauty, oh my gosh, didn't you see it coming in today? That envelops us. The deep peace of living in this beautiful, beautiful region. These are small sanctuaries of beauty and rest, and we should breathe them in deeply whenever given the chance. For a while, I have felt the gratitude and stillness settle in my spirit living in this amazing town. But soon enough, the heart does remind us that sorrow and splendor can live side by side, and often do when we are attending to it. You see, just as I would begin to find my rhythm, I wonder if you have experienced this too. Grief would rise unexpectedly without warning, demanding my attention once more. At times, I felt called to step back from community, from fellowship, not out of rejection, but as an act of care, a turning inward towards silence and stillness. There is sacred power in that kind of withdrawal. Solitude opens space for the spirit to breathe and to listen deeply, to gather strength for the days ahead. And yet, healing also asks us to return to sit among others, to be held in kindness of presence. At our water service in September, grief came suddenly to me, fierce, but also cleansing, a grace I hadn't known I was longing for. And in the circle of care, something in me was set free. I hope many of you have experienced that too. Since then, I've carried that lesson gently that we need both the quiet of solitude and the embrace of community, and the wisdom to know when each is needed. It is this rhythm of turning inward and reaching outward that sustains us through the seasons of beauty and burden, held together by one another and by the living world that restores us. I've seen that same rhythm at work in the lives of my sons, both living in Chicago, their beautiful city under siege. They are deeply troubled by the violence and the unrest around them, and have been discerning how to respond in ways that honor both their well-being and their desire to help. One son and his partner have joined mutual aid efforts similar to those in our community, bringing meals to neighbors too frightened or too vulnerable to step outside, or even just to walk their dogs, while tending also to their own inner limbs. My younger son, whose co-workers are mostly Latin immigrants, will plan to protest the Broadview ICE facility this week. Yesterday, though, they and everyone they know were among the more than 100,000 who filled the streets joyfully in downtown Chicago. Each of us must remember. I was sending them photos from here, they were sending us photos from there. Each of us must remember generosity of spirit must be grounded in self-awareness. Care for the world and care for the self are not opposing calls, but parts of the same sacred practice. The truth is, none of us is untouched by the weight of these times. Each of us, sooner or later, comes to the edge of our own strength. The body has its limits. The heart, too, can only hold so much before it must rest and release. Even the most steadfast among us bend beneath the strain of grief and exhaustion. This isn't something to overcome, though, because our need for healing is part of our design as human beings. It cannot be rushed, though. I'm having a hard time with that. It moves in its own rhythm. And so patience becomes the quiet grace we must learn to trust, a gentleness that keeps us from hardening into despair. It reminds us to rest before we are spent, to breathe before we break, to listen to what our bodies and spirits ask for, and to honor those needs without guilt or haste. So hard when the needs are so great. But in doing so, we safeguard ourselves from the slow burn of exhaustion and make room for healing to take root in its own time. The natural world teaches us this, right? That renewal always waits beneath the surface. I love the image of fire that looks like ash, yet still holds hidden embers. With time, with care, with rest, those embers can glow again, and the flame rises. This is the rhythm of life pulsing in us, contraction and release, emptiness and renewal, heartbreak and the stirring of hope. You see, with rest and healing, our capacity to re-engage returns. Our heartbreak, then, is not an obstacle to overcome, but a vital ingredient in our hearts at this time. See, heartbreak, and we know this, and yet we often forget it, opens us to deeper compassion, to tenderness that connects us more fully with one another, with ourselves, and with our world. But rest gives us strength to live with that tenderness without being consumed by it. When we practice generosity with ourselves, offering space, kindness, and rest, we create the conditions for healing. Even grief carries within it the seed of beginning. We live in times that much is asked of us. No wonder we sometimes feel overwhelmed or afraid or disconnected. We heard that on a personal level in the sharing of concerns from our own community members. Mary Oliver names this ache quite simply by saying, "Tell me about your despair, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on." Her words remind us that our inner lives must be given space to tell the truth. When my inner fire burns low, I look to the courage of others for solace. Their witness reminds me that even in darkness, new life may be forming. As Valerie Carr writes, what feels like the end may in fact be the labor of a new beginning. Her words help me to trust that grief and hope can coexist, and that resistance itself can be a source of power, sustaining us when inspiration feels distant. Many of you took to the streets yesterday, likely felt that power, right? Knowing that millions across our country joined in solidarity. Hope does not blaze alone. It becomes the living fire when we carry it together. Tending fire is a collective act, each person strengthened by the shared responsibility of care. I love the image of the hearth. Not one great blaze, but a steady, enduring fire that warms and sustains. Some of you may remember that in 2008, when our town was visited by the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, elders devoted to earth, to human rights, and to peace. During their visit, people gathered in shifts, day and night, to keep a sacred fire going, a living symbol of life's continuity, community devotion, and spiritual guidance. That shared flame teaches us that tending the fire is an act of devotion. A quiet, steady presence is needed, attentive. So too, our inner fire depends on care and connection. It lives through attention and trust, through our willingness to return, to breathe, to notice, even when the light feels dim. Friends, I know, as we've heard already, some of you are also feeling depleted. Weary of words sometimes, weary of carrying more. And if that is you, please know your numbness or weariness is not failure. It is your heart's way of protecting itself until tenderness can return. Even if your fire feels like a hidden ember, know, though, that it still lives in you. And here, no one is asked to tend the fire alone. Yesterday, I witnessed that truth in motion. In song, in laughter, steady steps, amazing speeches, awakening our spirits, renewing our resolve. We were not only inspired, but equipped, given real practical ways to join the work of justice and love. Hope does not blaze alone. It becomes a living fire when we carry it together. And this is why we gather here, too, to share the keeping of the flame, to trust that when one grows weary, another will tend. The strength we seek is not solitary, but shared, a living current of love, moving through us all. What a blessing. Together, let us keep tending the fragile flame of hope, holding each other in tender care, steady, attentive, steady, attentive. May this be so. May the quiet flame with you find shelter in your heart in the days ahead. Let every act of kindness feed its warmth for you and those nearby. And when embers fade, remember, a single glow is enough to begin again. May compassion rise in us all, steady as breath, strong as love, warming the world wherever we go. Blessed be.
Hold fast to love, for it's not broken. Hold fast to love, it will endure. Hold fast to love, hold your heart open for all this hurt. Love is the cure. Hold fast to love, it's staying right here, despite the ones who've lost their way. Hold fast to love, it shows the way clear, so we can face another day. Hold fast to love, it's in our voices. Hold fast to love, it's in our hands. Love rises up to guide our choices. There is no storm love can't withstand. Hold fast to love, for it's not broken. Hold fast to love, it will endure. Hold fast to love, hold your heart open for all this hurt. Love is the cure for all this hurt. Love is the cure.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our service has ended. Let our true service now begin. Go in peace.